All right, yeah. So go ahead. So we're talking about Imavov versus
Yeah.
Go ahead,
So it
break it
was
down.
it was a shutout. Kyle had some moments, but there were far few in between. And Nasruddin, he did a good job at controlling the cage. He did a good job at cutting Kyle off, and his countering ability was just on point. And I mean, his nickname is the Sniper, and that is very fitting because he's quick. Like his hands is quick. So it was honestly, Kyle kept trying to go for takedowns and try to, he was going for the trip, couldn't get a takedown at all. And Imavov was on point with everything. It was just, I mean, I figured he was gonna win. Nasruddin, I knew he was gonna win, but it was just like it was like class was in session. You know what I'm saying? He was schooling.
I thought Borralho was supposed to be good. All this talk about the fighting nerds and
You know what's crazy too? The co-main event was Rufy. That's the other guy from the Fighting Nerds. He's the guy that gets compared to Connor a lot because his
mm-hmm.
style is very similar to Connor.
What
Bro,
happened?
he trash on the ground. And he had nothing on the ground. He fought Benoit Saint Denis, and Benoit was
Benoit said the knee be getting beat by the best
that's what
dudes.
I'm saying. But Benoit, he did a good job he was landing a lot of good, like his head kicks was on point. He was throwing a lot of head kicks, right?
Mhm.
And then he would throw the head kick or he would throw like a 1-1-2 head kick or whatever. And then he would then shoot in for the takedown. And he had some significant control in the first round. And then after that, Rufy just looked like he was out of it. Like he just didn't, he was hesitant. Like he was almost like a deer in front of a headlight, right? And in the second round, it just got worse. Bro, like,
Let me ask you this: Do you think it was a skill problem or like a mental problem? Like,
it was
was it
both.
the fact that he was getting beat and that was like mentally, damn, I didn't expect this to happen, or was it like I don't have an answer to what's happening right now?
It's both. I think that my assumption is Rufy thought that he was going to go in there and he was going to do what he normally does to everybody else, which is fight his style of fighting pretty on the outside and then just catch him, right? And when that wasn't happening, and when he was late, because he landed a couple shots and Benoit just ate him, right? So I feel like when he was landing some good shots and it had no effect, or at least no visible effect on Benoit, I feel like that was where it started, right? But I also think that there's a massive skill deficiency on the ground for Rufy. I feel like Rufy's hole, his grappling hole, is as big as the Grand Canyon, bro. It's crazy. Like,
Like, how bad
but
was it? Like, cause
it
you know,
was
like
bad, bro.
for
He
example,
had
MVP
nothing.
don't really bring nothing to the table on the ground. Was it like
He
that,
brought
or
nothing to the table. Nothing to the table. It was like it was worse than Hamza versus Drakus.
no,
Cause
no way, it ain't
because he
that bad?
got finished. That's why it was worse. He
Oh,
got
okay.
submitted. He got submitted with a rear naked choke in the second round, and the choke wasn't even underneath the chin. It was a face crank. You know how people don't often get submitted by face cranks, right? You
Yeah.
either got to be weak minded, or the person that's doing the face crank got to be freakishly strong, right?
Yeah.
And I think it was a bit of both. I think Rufy didn't want to be in there no more. I think when it wasn't going his way, he crumbled and he was looking for an exit.
Dude, that's why I always say you can't judge somebody by how they look in times of peace and prosperity. You gotta judge them by the times of adversity.
Yeah.
You don't really even know, because technically, what is a fight? A fight is when there's struggle, right? When there's toil, when you're going back and forth over something. If it's not a back and forth, it's not technically a fight. It's really just a beatdown. Like, for example, Hamza versus DDP. Was that a fight or was that just somebody having their way?
Yeah.
But then when you watch Hamza versus Gilbert, Hamza versus Usman, that was a fight.
There needs to be some resistance.
Some type of resistance has to be there. There has to be a struggle. And we've never seen that from Luffy. What's his name, right? Luffy? Rufy. We never seen that from Rufy. All we seen was him going there and beat up a Bobby Green. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
I think we had to take this as a lesson. Before we start hyping dudes up and riding on their bandwagon, we got to see them go through some adversity. I mean, look at Ilya Taporia. Ilya Taporia, the first night out, he got a head kick and dropped, came back and knocked the dude out. So we already know what he's about. Like, we've seen him go into deep waters. But when we haven't seen somebody go through deep waters, why is we riding their bandwagon so hard? And look, all of the geeks, what are they? The nerds, all of the fighting nerds. All of them are lost now, right? Except for
Gene Silva's the only one that has it.
He's the only one that has a loss, exactly.
But at this point, he might take an L to Lopez because
I don't know about that, but
because Rufy and Kyle both lost back to back, right? And then Prates already lost. He got a win, but he got a win against Jeff Neal, he's never been that kind of guy. Like he's just in my opinion, he's a fighter to make other fighters look good,
He's a
right?
journeyman. He's like somebody that is he. Would you consider him a gatekeeper or like a journeyman?
Good question. Because I feel like a journeyman, you would have to already been like there for a while, and I would consider a journeyman to be like Gilbert Burns right now.
So not Neil.
So not Neil. I think Neil is. I feel like Neil may be a gatekeeper because I feel like he's the guy that they put in front of you when they're trying to give a guy that they want to build up a good performance. Because Jeff is gonna go in there. He's gonna fight. He's not gonna grapple. He's gonna get in your face. So he's
Like
gonna.
a
That's
Dan
gonna
Ige.
lend. Exactly. That's gonna lend itself to a entertaining fight. So
Okay.
I think that's what he will be. But it was just bad, man. Like Rufy, it was, bro. Like he's on the feet. He's very good, but his ground game is can level.
Like trash. Like
He has can level ground game, bro. I'm telling you.
Conor McGregor. So is he like Conor McGregor? Because Conor McGregor wasn't like a slouch
Connor
on the
got
ground.
way better grappling than that. At least
Yeah.
Connor had to force Habib to chain wrestle to get him down, right?
Yeah.
Bro, Islam or Habib would have got him out of there in the first round. Would have got Rufy out in the
Round
first
one.
round.
Like don't even step in the ring with me. You see what
'Cause
Islam
Ben-
posted, right?
Yeah, because he was talking about him. Because Rufy was talking about fighting him, right?
What did he say?
Benoit,
What did he say in the tweet? What did he say?
he said, train more, talk less, something like that. Because Benoit's not even known to be like one of the best grapplers at 55 anyways, right? And you just drowned with him. So
what does that say for like the whole fighting nerd team now? Like at this point, I think the hype is pretty much done with at this
it's
point.
not done with because Prates, even Prates losing to Gary, it wasn't a bad loss. Right? It wasn't a bad loss. Like visually, it wasn't like he didn't get completely outclassed to the point where he just got he didn't drown him. He didn't drown Prates, right? So he still showed some promise, right? And then hurting him at the end of the fifth round, saying, and then Caio, even though he lost pretty much every round, it wasn't a Rufy performance, right? I feel like Rufy is the wink link right now. He the anchor that might be holding them down, right? You might have to just part ways with him just to get out of here.
You know what's crazy? I kept feeling like Borralho looked similar to Costa in there, like the way he kind of stands. He's not as good as Costa. I think Costa's probably better than him, but like the way he stands, kind of like the way he like moves around and kind of runs a little bit. But like, you know what I'm saying? What do you think about that?
The similarities there. I feel like they have a similar style of fighting. I agree.
Kind of similar, but I think Costa's stronger. But he probably has less cardio, but he's stronger.
Definitely less cardio because Caio had good cardio all 5 rounds tonight.
But he's smaller. He's also smaller than.
He's not as muscular. Yeah, but yeah, man. Like, so I don't think the fighting nerds lost much. I just feel like with any brand new team or any new fighter with some highlights, the fandom turns into casuals and they start backing. Even hardcore fans will become casuals because they'll be a victim to the moment. Mm-hmm. And they'll start riding this person heavily. And then when they lose, then they take a step back and they're like, oh yeah, what was I thinking? Like even the most hardcore fan base has casual mindset at times, right? And I feel like that was the case with Rufy.
Yeah, we all do because it's fun. Like it's fun to kind of go on, jump on a bandwagon and be a big fan of
I never was like that with Rufy. I thought he was a good fighter, but I still didn't see enough for me to be like, yo, he's that guy, right? And I was the same way with Volkanovski. When I first saw Volkanovski fight early on, he still had hair, right? Early in his UFC career, like I acknowledged that he was good, but I wasn't on the bandwagon until he beat Jose Aldo. Then I was like, okay, there's something here.
Yeah.
But before that, I wasn't like, I needed some time, you know what I'm saying? And that's how I was a Rufy, but he never let me get there because he just got outclassed by Benoit Saint Denis. So,
So at this point, is it safe to say that Rufy is never sniffing gold?
Most definitely not. It's not happening. Like I said, his grappling hole is massive. It's the size of the Grand Canyon, bro. And at his age, he's not an old guy, but to acquire that type of skill at this point is essentially like it's like an uphill battle. It's not really going to happen, right? Like there's not you can't learn at 20-something years old. There's not much that you're going, or I don't know however old he is, late 20s, early 30s. It's not you don't have enough time to acquire the amount of grappling experience that's going to fill that gap with other guys that's been doing it much longer than you.
Do you feel like, is there anybody you can think of right now who people might be on their bandwagon a little bit too soon?
Right now?
Is there anybody that's like, okay, let's see how this plays out before we, you know what I'm saying? Kind of jump on him a little bit too heavily. Maybe somebody up and coming. Maybe like, for example, 35 has a lot of these kind of guys. Like, who's the guy that's about to fight Ilia Toporia's brother?
Wellmaker.
Yeah, like maybe do you feel like he want, or maybe is his bandwagon not that big at this point?
It's not as big.
Okay. Is there anybody we can think of that's like
that has the hype of a Roofy? I mean, I don't think so. I don't think anybody was being hyped up as much as Roofy. And I feel like a lot of the reason why Roofy was so hyped up is because of similarities to Conor McGregor. Everything about his striking style, from the stance to the shot selection, is very reminiscent of 45 Conor.
Yeah.
So I think that's where a lot of the hype came from for him. But I don't think that there's anybody that I can think of that has that level of hype that a Roofy had.
Like, what about like for me, I don't, all right, so I think Paddy Pimblett. I don't think he's the same as Roofy because obviously he does have a good ground game, but I feel like we just never really got to see him tested. I feel like everybody he fought against was ass. Like, think about it, for example, like he beat Bobby Green. He got a robbery with, what's his name? Jared Gordon. Who else did he beat? He beat a Tony Ferguson that was, 1 foot in the grave. He beat a Michael Chandler who could fight himself and lose.
But I would say the difference between those two is that at the very least, like you said about the ground game, right? At the very least, Paddy has shown to have a well-rounded skill set, right?
Yeah, like his grappling obviously is one of the best in the whole game.
Exactly. And he's shown to have power, some good precision, and some pretty good striking, right? Whereas Roofy has only shown to have exceptional striking. And because he's never had to, he's never allowed us to see whether he had a ground game or not before tonight. Because
has he ever fought any wrestlers before that?
Nah. But regardless, though, he has been getting everybody out of there with striking, right? So we've never even got to get a feel for his offensive wrestling at the very least, or offensive grappling. So, whereas now we know that. We know he has nothing, offense or defense.
Which is kind of crazy because you got to think about how, like, time and chance works. And when you think about it, like, some people think that they have to just be the best in every single area in order to make it to the UFC. And they think if you're not in the UFC, you're not the best or you're not even good. Like, you're just kind of trash. But the truth is, depending on where you come from and who you're connected to, you can make it really far with a giant glaring hole in your game, especially if you push the right way. Like, what I'm guessing was what happened is that Roofy probably fought in some kind of professional Brazilian league. Am I right?
I believe so, yeah.
Fought in Brazil because he fought for the same promotion that I fought for, SFT. I fought for them one time, and he was fighting for them in Brazil. And what is the level of competition in Brazil?
I mean, he got knocked out as well.
Over there?
Yeah, prior to this fight, I like last week, this clip just came up out of nowhere because the UFC just signed the guy. His name is something Sosa, I believe. But they just signed him, and he knocked Roofy out cold, right? So I just saw the clip like 2-3 days ago on Instagram. It was circling around. So
think about that though. Like, what's the level of competition you think in Brazil in these small fight leagues? What do you think?
I don't think it's all that great because you think about the guys that's in the UFC right now. A lot of the Brazilian guys, think about how many Brazilian fighters are signed to the UFC, men and female, right? It's probably a good percentage, right? And only a handful of them are actually good.
You see what I'm saying? So, like, we think about that. Like, we're talking about maybe I would say even our regional scenes, like LFA, would probably run them over. I'm not saying, and I like SFT. I'm not talking bad about them, but I'm just saying like the level of competition. I think people from LFA and Peak and Fury, all these different promotions that we have over here in America would probably be better fighters than those people over there. So you get somebody who's dominant over there. Maybe he has like 15 or 0 or 20-0. But I mean, look at Khabib before he went to the UFC. He was 16-0 against straight trash cans. He turned out to be a good fighter. But not everyone turns out to be a good fighter. You probably just got good matchups. Then you get to the UFC like Roofy did, and they put you with all these stylistically favorable matchups. Yeah. More people that you can beat up, and they can build you.
And they probably...
Huh?
There you go.
Well, I was going to say, sometimes you have an illusion that somebody is so great, but you got to remember, they can move you in a way where you won't lose. Like, for example, you look at Sean O'Malley. How beautifully did they move him?
Yeah.
He went from literally striker to striker to striker, and not just any striker. We're talking about old people. We're talking about Chris Moutinho.
Yeah.
We're talking about, like, not good fighters. And then title defense against Cheeto. He was getting a hella favorable matchups. Like, name me a wrestler that he fought before he fought Aljamain Sterling. One wrestler. He literally fought a wrestler on his title match. And yes, he won that fight, but I mean, he kind of clipped him. But I mean, if they fought 10 times, we don't know how those goes 10 times. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah.
And then he fought Merab, and it was just, and Merab is amazing. He does that to pretty much anybody. So I'm not taking that away from him. But I'm just saying, like, if they want to move you a certain way, they can.
Exactly.
So sometimes we kind of sip the Kool-Aid that you have to be the best fighter in the world in order to make it. No, you don't.
And I feel like also with they probably thought that they was feeding Rufy, that they were feeding Benoit to Rufy, because Benoit historically has been a guy that is wild on the feet. He just
comes up short when the pressure's high. He comes up short.
But I'm sure they did not expect a more composed Benoit, a Benoit that sticks to a game plan that is heavily revolved around grappling. I can almost guarantee that they did not expect this happening. They thought that they was going to get the Benoit that fought Dustin, that fought Moicano, but they didn't get that guy. They got a guy that apparently he grappling specialist, I guess.
I mean, he won his last two now, right? He won one before that as well, right?
Nah, he lost to Moicano.
He didn't fight after that?
I don't believe so.
I thought he beat somebody up in Canada or something like that, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe I'm wrong.
If
Either way, I mean,
comment section will get us.
Let us know in the comment section, man. And don't forget to like and subscribe too, man. I gotta start saying that more often. But yeah, man, I guess basically it's just learning lessons for everybody to kind of like just pay attention to. Like, before you jump on somebody's bandwagon, you really gotta assess their skill set, their ability to anti-grapple, anti-wrestle, to get up, to strike. I mean, you look at somebody like Israel Adesanya. He did a really good job against wrestlers for the most part throughout his career.
Yeah,
he did an excellent job.
Yeah, really good takedown defense, and he also had an ability to be able to get up. Right?
Yeah, he did good.
That's really all you need. Like, if you're a really good striker and you've been doing it for the majority of your fighting career, you know that you have to be smart enough to know that I'm not going to be able to fill this gap in this amount of time, right? So let me focus on what I can do that is a little bit easier to obtain, which is takedown defense and an ability to get back up, whether it's on the fence.
Oh, it's submission defense. Hella submission defense.
Exactly. Those are much easier that is much easier to get than great defensive wrestling, offensive in terms of positioning, how to scramble. Like, you're not going to be able to get that information in a short period of time, right? Or at all, when you're compared to somebody who's been doing it for their whole life. Do what you can do that's easy, that's more easily obtainable, that also highlights what you're good at, right? And that's what Izzy did.
And what's funny about that is who thinks about grappling in that way? Who thinks about grappling like anti-grappling? Like, when I go to the gym, I'm gonna drill 100 get-ups. I'm gonna drill 100 underhook get-ups, cross grip get-ups, sweeps. I'm gonna drill 100 Granbies, like just drilling just escapes, drilling get-ups and reversals. And I'm going to drill 100 armbar reversals, 100 leg lock escapes. Like, no one's thinking like that. We're always thinking offense, offense, offense. Yeah, but for some people, it would behoove them to go the other way. Like, Justin Gaethje, remember when he fought against Khabib, he was just like a fish out of water.
Yeah, exactly. But most gyms are going to teach you, not how to get out of those situations. They're going to teach you how to do those things, right?
And that's why my focus is always defense, man. There is such a hole when it comes to defense in martial arts in general. The whole of martial arts is offense based. Like, where's the defense? If somebody can't do what they want to do to you and you can do what you want to do, you win.
And like this on that topic, the thing that pisses me off the most when I watch MMA fight, right, is nobody checks kicks. 99.9% of fighters will eat 30, 40 leg kicks and not check one, right?
Well, you know why that is? I think it's because MMA is way more boxing based now.
Nah, but I'm saying, but bro, you see guys eat leg kicks constantly. And just tonight, Nasser Deem ate so many of them, right? And it's just like, and I see it all the time, and it's like only a select few fighters, check a kick,
step back or something.
A step back. It's Pereira, Izzy, and it's the guys that came from that background. But even MMA guys, you're training. That's like day one, right? Like, on my first week of training, like, we was training checks, and nobody checks kicks. And then when they want to check it, it's too late because they hopping on one leg. At that point, why are you checking now? It's just
Yeah.
it's idiotic, man. So yeah, defense, whether it's on striking or it's on grappling, it's like always like in the back of your mind. You're always trying to be offensive, 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 but not even realizing that having a good defense game is going to open up more offense.
And people don't understand that that's where confidence comes from. Like being confident, it's not about the fact that you think you can beat somebody up. Your confidence comes from the fact that you think they can't beat you up.
Exactly.
Right? Like think about, like, for example, if let's say me and you, if you think you can knock me out, but I might be able to knock you out too, right? So me and you are equal. You can knock me out and I can knock you out.
Yeah.
How would you feel going into that fight?
I'm not going to feel as confident because it's a 50-50 situation, right?
Like, damn, who knows what can happen?
But I'll tell you what, though, for me personally, because I've been in these situations, I remember when I was sparring with my coach. And for me, there's nothing better than somebody throwing a good combo or something, right? Throwing their best strike, whether it's a head kick, and then I slip it, or I dodge it, or I dip under it. That's a beautiful feeling, right? For me, it's a better feeling than landing flush on something, right? Like landing a flush 1-2 is a great feeling, but making them miss is a much better feeling.
Good. So look, let me ask you a question. Now look, so if me and you were equal and I can knock you out, you can knock me out, you feel nervous still, right?
Yeah, exactly.
But what if you knew for a fact that you could not knock me out? You could not knock me out. Like, there's nothing that you could do to hurt me. But I couldn't land any punches on you. How would you feel?
I feel amazing. And I feel like that. And I feel like if I'm in a situation like that, and I know that there's a 50-50 situation where the likeliness of me getting knocked out is pretty good, I'm not going to approach the fight with the mindset of offense, because offense first, because there's a 50-50 chance that I'm going to get knocked out. So in that situation, I'm going to use my feet. I'm going to be defensively approaching the fight because I know that is my best chance to win. Because at the very least, I'll win a boring fight, but I'm still winning.
Yeah, at least you're alive to tell the tale, right? Like, at least you're going to remember what happened, right?
I feel like most people don't think that way. Most people don't think that way.
It goes to show that, like, when you're fighting, your confidence comes from the fact that you're safe. Knowing that you're safe, knowing that nothing's going to happen to you, that's what gives you confidence. Just something to think about. Now, on another note, Ilia Topuria, if he fights Justin Gaethje, I got a feeling that he's going to wrestle him and grapple him. What do you think? Have you thought about that?
That's interesting. You think Ilia's going to wrestle with
Justin? I think he's going to take his ass down. Yeah.
I mean, I
think he's going to get him tired. He's going to take him down. I think he stops him on the ground, honestly. Which would be, if he did that, that would be a freaking statement.
Yeah, but I think, I don't know. Like, that's a tough one because Gaethje, he tends to leave himself open, right? He does eat a lot of strikes. So I think that I feel like it might be the opposite. I feel like Gaethje might try to approach it in a more grappling manner.
No, Gaethje's not gonna. He's never in his entire career.
I think he might, because he has that in the bag. Everybody says he's a grappler.
How do we know that?
Everybody says he's a wrestler and a grappler. Everybody, apparently
he's an anti-wrestler, though. He's not an offensive wrestler.
But apparently he wrestled in high school and stuff like that.
Defensively, I think it was always his style to reverse stuff, and like that was his style. Like
my thing is, but I just feel like Gaethje, knowing where he's at in his career right now, having been knocked out a few times, he has a style that is not the most defensive. Like, he gets hit a lot. And knowing the type of power that Ilia has, and it only takes one, and you know what I'm saying, you in sleep land. So I feel like he might approach this in a more grappling manner, whether it's trying to clinch him up against the fence or something. I feel like he might not approach the fight the way he normally does. I don't think it's smart of him. Now, I could be wrong.
So you think he's going to go out there and show us something that we never seen before?
I'm not saying he's going to go out there and shoot doubles and things like that. I think his approach might be to try his best to press him against the fence, try to close off the octagon, and get him against the fence and try to utilize, clinch work, try to utilize cage grappling, cage wrestling. I think that's what he might do, because I just feel like it's not going to be smart to approach the fight the way he normally does, in the center, throwing. You're going to get clipped. If you approach the fight in that way, in my opinion, you're going to get knocked out within the first 3 minutes, messing around with Ilia.
Oh, so you think he goes out in the first round and he fights like normal?
I think he does, because Max hurt him a few times, but Max is not known to have that power, right? So maybe that's where he had a little bit of, more confidence approaching the fight, the way he normally does against Max. But Ilia is also smaller guy naturally. He's faster, but he's more powerful. And his boxing is, I just think that he obviously has the advantage in the boxing. So I think that he's not going to want to approach the fight the same way he did against Max or any other guys that he went against. It's not smart. Ilya has one punch knockout power. And his angling, his angles is crazy. His IQ is crazy. His eyes is crazy. And good defense. Like, I saw this clip recently. It was slowed down. It was when he fought Josh Emmett. Josh Emmett, Ilya threw, I believe, a cross and missed Emmett. And then Emmett threw a 1-2. He slipped the first and then he shoulder rolled the other. And then he stepped forward and then caught him with a cross, I believe, and then dropped him. Yeah. It was beautiful.
Yeah. That's it. And you know what I find interesting about Ilya is that he hits hard naturally, but he also has bad intentions. Yes. Like when he was going to counter against Charles Oliveira, son, he was trying to knock his head off. Like he didn't he was like, and he did.
You know, when you talk about killer instinct, Ilya has that in spades. Like his killer instinct, in my opinion, it might be unmatched. Like maybe the only one that can rival it is maybe Pereira. Like, but
Alex Pieta has more of like a God-gifted power. Yeah, it's not like trying hard. You just get knocked out because
I don't think Ilya has to try hard. I think he just has that power, but he just I feel like he doesn't, or at least I don't think so, but I feel like he be hating his opponents when he in there. Cause I feel like he doesn't have to, because we've seen instances where he's not throwing with intent to kill you and he be hurting people, right? So I think that him fighting in that way just amplifies the power he already has.
It's crazy because he seems like such a decent dude. Like he don't seem like a kind of like an angry guy or a hateful dude, but he's able to really turn it on. I always had a problem with that. I'm like, I have a hard time finding my motivation. You know, when you're acting, you gotta, what's my motivation? I have a hard time finding the drive to want to do damage to a person because I just don't feel that way. Like I don't feel aggressive and I don't feel like I want to hurt someone, you know? Yeah. But he's able to kind of just get in there and just, I'm knocking you out cold.
That's why I
break the knockout before it even happens.
Exactly. And that's why, bro, he be swinging with so much velocity that the wind might knock these people out, right? Like it's just man, but that's why I think that it's a bad idea for Gaethje to approach the fight the way that he normally does, because you're not messing with Ilya. Is not, and all respect to Max. Max a great fighter, but Max is not no Ilya. Like Max doesn't have that ill intention to put you to sleep, to remove consciousness from you, right? And
he still did it to you,
and he still did it, right? But Ilya is bro, he's so defensively sound. His offense is incredible. He has that crazy power. He has that killer be killed mentality, right?
But he can get head kicked though. He's been head kicked before. He can get head kicked because he's been head kicked before.
But that was one instance. That was one instance where he got dropped, and that was a long time ago. At that point, Ilya was, remember, he started as a grappler, right? His foundation initially coming into the sport was grappling. So when he fought that dude that dropped him with the head kick, that was early in his career.
Still fresh off of his becoming a boxer at that point.
He was developing with the boxing, which is insane. To be a guy who started as a grappler and to be so much better than everybody else with boxing. It's just insane, right?
It goes to show you boxing and footwork, and that's where all the IQ and stuff like that is. I was having a conversation today with some friends, and I have a theory about something. I want to see what your take is on this. Actually, hold on. Let me drink some water first, and then I'm going to pause this.